Hi friends, in Planet Earth Dating it's Wednesday, March 18th, 2020. In both the Lynn Life and the Jamie Body Mind, the authorized souls remain only child souls from the deeper, denser dimensions, and all other souls from all other dimensions, as long as the souls are already living by the many rules already given to the Search for Truth community by wiser minds above all of us. And whether or not the souls live by the rules, the host lives attempt to live by the rules, because by being disciplined in the actions of the host lives attract better quality souls. And when we attract better quality souls, we stand a chance of living the soul plan that we actually also want to live. It's unclear who's speaking, but it feels
right.
like a soul who knows they don't have status or standing. They know that they are an unimportant soul, but that they really want to do the job that they said that they would do, and they want to do it because of multiple reasons, including that they said they would do it, but also because it's a job that really needs to be done. And in this case, the job that these two host lives are part of a group of lives who accepted is to be a portal for higher vibration presences to work through to create change in Ground Zero Planet Earth. And right now, while we're filming on Ground Zero Planet Earth, it's a very interesting time because this coronavirus is going pandemic. And there are many responses being taken around the world. And to sum it up and to oversimplify, and we understand this is an oversimplification, so just calm down. The instructions are to go home, stay home, and just sit tight. Don't go to restaurants, don't go to bars, don't go out on airplanes, don't go to tourist attractions, just go home. And it's interesting because one of the inquiries that we have been running in this tiny little community is, what is the best possible outcome with dependable levels of backup and these realities, because the experimentation has shown that right now there is not a divine plan for planet Earth,
Yeah,
and that is an enormous problem, and therefore getting a divine plan, inspiring divine minds to weave a divine plan, a plan that works for everybody, is high on the list of things to do for these host lives and for our tiny little community. For him is the message, and why do you ask? That's helpful.
Yeah, it is.
And one of the inquiries that really seems to matter most is, what is the best possible outcome with dependable levels of backup and these realities that are observable? It has to be observable inside of the dimension. It can't be some woo-woo other dimensional observation.
That's right.
It has to be observable. These are the realities with which we must deal, and that doesn't mean that we ignore the reality of lack of upward flow, because that is an observable reality inside of this dimension.
That's true.
You have to know how to observe it, and that's a process that can take some time. It's a long training process. It's 3 to 4 year training process. But medical school is 4 years, and people don't say that heart transplants are impossible because it takes 4 years to get your basic MD, and then another, 8 years or whatever of residency to be able to do a heart transplant. 12 years of higher education. People don't say, oh, it's impossible to do a heart transplant. They accept that.
That's true.
So people like to argue with concepts that are something they perceive as a threat to their way of living.
That's true.
And it's so sad. Unclear who's speaking. Might be Mother Mary.
Might be.
It's so sad that humans are threatened by the idea of living in close connection with the divine. And now we circle back to the pandemic and the instruction to shelter at home. and whether or not that instruction has been given by the governments of your particular area or not, that's really kind of irrelevant, because that's what Spirit wants us to do. They want us all to go home, sit down, maybe meditate. Notice what we're thinking, notice what we're doing, notice what we're craving, notice what we're running away from, and really then start to make some better choices. What is the best possible outcome with dependable levels of backup in these realities? And now there's a different room clicking into view, and they're no longer talking to humanity, but they're talking to each other, and it kind of feels like a situation room, like an important group of presences who are trying to figure out how to deal with a difficult situation.
That's true.
And they're talking about how guardian angels can't really tell what their charges are doing, and this is problematic because they're trying to help their lives, the charges' lives, and if they lose their charge when they enter a major urban area, they're not able to help them at all, and a life without an angel is not a life anyone would really want to live.
That's right.
So how to get people, humanity, reconnected with their guardian angels, this is a crucial topic of discussion above the interdimensional divide, and obviously it should be a crucial topic of discussion below the interdimensional divide as well, but for some reason people don't seem to understand how problematic this is for them.
Oh, that's true.
Which circles back around to this pandemic and what a gift it might turn out to be for humanity if people will just stop running around just for a month. Just for a month, stop running around like a crazy person. Just for a month, stay at home. And maybe your guardian angels can figure out which wiggling worm you are at the bottom of the lake.
That's right.
And if they can figure out which wiggling worm you are, then they can start to help you fix the mess of your lives. And all of our lives are messes, and let's not pretend that they aren't. Friends, we're destroying all life on Earth. This is really problematic, and the karma of this is sticking to us like white on rice.
That's right.
And so that's trouble. That's trouble. Big trouble. Not to mention the health issues that many people are facing because of the extremely unhealthy lifestyles and unhealthy diets that are unhealthy spiritually also, because they're cruel diets based in cruelty, food production that is cruel, and food production that harms the planet.
That's true.
And we are what we eat, and we are what our meals eat. And so if we're eating animal products and they're eating something disgusting, then we're eating something disgusting.
That's right.
And the point is that we're eating cruelty unless we're extremely unusual.
That's true.
Raise our own eggs on our own tiny farm, which we invite you to do, but don't have 12 chickens. It's too many. You'll come to dislike them. Stick with maybe 5. 5 might be a good number. 5 or fewer.
I hear you.
So if your neighborhood says you can't have 12 chickens, say, thank goodness. And stick with 5. For him is the message. Why do you ask? And somebody's asking, why do you come to dislike the chickens? And there seems to be some kind of tipping point that happens somewhere in between 5 chickens and 12 chickens. And they start to be really unpleasant to be around. They start to be ungrateful and demanding. And it's ridiculous when a chicken is shouting at you, "Pick me up! Carry me! Get out of this coop! I don't care that you're cleaning the poop! I want to be in it! Get out! Get out!" It's ridiculous, and they don't do it at 5 chickens, and they do it at 12 chickens. And so maybe it's a message of overpopulation. It's possible. So does that answer the question about why chickens are unpleasant when there are too many. It's the social norm. The social norm inside of a community of chickens shifts to something that's offensive when there are too many chickens.
That's true.
And this has been studied in scientific circles. Too many rats in the cage, and the rats start to get nasty to each other.
That's right.
And when we were growing up, we had gerbils, and we started out with 4 gerbils, 2 boys and 2 girls. Let me tell you what, that's a mistake to keep them together in the same cage. Boom, boom, boom. We have 36 gerbils in the blink of an eye, or so it seems. So then we have
right.
2 cages, one for the boys and one for the girls. But when there were too many gerbils in the cage, they got nasty to each other also.
That's true.
Overpopulation is a serious problem. For whom is the message, and why do you ask? What is the best possible outcome with dependable levels of backup in these realities? And somebody's talking about the realities. They might be talking to each other. They don't seem to
And that's
be
what it sounds like.
talking to the collective in this dimension. They seem to be talking to each other, and they're talking about overpopulation and environmental issues. They're talking about water degradation and soil degradation.
That's right.
They're not talking about anything esoteric.
No, that's
They're
true.
talking about statistical, easily observable troubles. Somebody is disappointed about that. Somebody wants there to be a qualitative analysis as well.
That's right.
What now? To stop the destruction in a fair and just way. Please may we have a divine plan with dependable levels of backup that is based in these realities to stop the destruction in a fair and just way. Now somebody's talking about selfishness.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the first qualitative comment that we heard just now. Okay.
And they're talking about the pandemic, and they're talking about how communities' responses to it show something about the selfishness levels of that community.
It does.
And they're talking about how the way people respond to that presence is saying the media hype about the disease.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying the way people respond to it shows their level of selfishness or not, almost regardless of how the disease is going to personally affect that specific person.
Mm-hmm. Or how the disease affects the species overall, or the society overall, because that's irrelevant. The decision is to be selfish or be unselfish.
Exactly.
To think about something more than me, 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 or to continue to focus solely on me, 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 me.
Exactly.
And for each of us to remember, it's not about us ever, really. It's never really about us.
Yeah.
It's always about what we can do for the good of the planet, the good of the collective of life on Earth, for the good of the biosphere, the allness of all of us. That humanity seems to be not gifted in that area. Humanity seems to be no less selfish than any other species, unfortunately. For him is the message. Why do you ask? What is the best possible outcome with dependable levels of backup in these realities? They are still talking about these bees.
Yeah, that's true.
Whether or not the bees are native bees, and the joke is to check the passports of the bees.
That's right.
And they're not carrying passports with them, so they're undocumented.
That's true.
And now we don't know if they're citizens or not.
Exactly.
And obviously this is some kind of commentary on open borders, and possibly open borders during a pandemic, and
That's
possibly what it says about us. as individuals and as a collective, how we treat the suffering who have nothing. And sometimes people say one way you can tell what kind of society you live inside of is how the society treats their children, which, by the way, something like 25% of children in the U.S. live in poverty and go to bed hungry at night. So that's a fail.
Yeah,
in my
that's
book,
right.
That's a fail. And somebody says, oh, it's a C. Well, our stats might be wrong. It might be 1/3 go to bed hungry.
It's not a good grade.
It's a bad grade. And we never got a C.
No.
That wasn't.
No.
We don't run in those circles.
No.
For whom is the message? Why do you ask? What is the best possible outcome with dependable levels of backup in these realities? They're ignoring us.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. It's like everybody
fine.
in the Situation Room has turned their backs
which
to
is
us.
totally fine. They're trying to figure out what is the best possible outcome. It really does feel like they're actually trying to figure that out.
It feels real.
They're not communicating with us, nor should they stop what they're doing to communicate with us. We're not trying to imply they should.
Totally.
They're trying to figure out what is the best possible outcome. And so maybe if we in Ground Zero Planet Earth, this is like a guardian angel who's stepping up to say, now children, here's what's going on. Saying if we all stay home and shelter in place and attempt to notice what we're doing, whether or not we're breathing or holding our breath, what we're thinking about, what we're trying to pull toward us, the grasping, and what we're running away from, the aversion. Just really notice. Obviously, ideally, meditate, but many people are strangely resistant to the concept.
That's what he said. Strangely resistant.
Mm-hmm. It's a wonderful way to feel better and lose your health problems. It's so simple, and you actually do receive immediate benefit, and yet people avoid it almost at all costs.
That's true.
For him is the message. Why do you ask? Somebody's saying how important it is to keep the frame of reference of the extreme luxury in which we all live, those of us who have indoor plumbing and electricity and easily available food, and that this is such a minor inconvenience, and we're making it out as if it's a big hairy deal, and really what it might be doing is showing us that we should all learn how to work at home, to develop the discipline that it takes to work at home, and to do that.
That's right.
And to just find the joys in it, and find the gifts in it, and to be happy with that, and maybe learn to raise some of our food ourselves at home, to relearn the art of growing food. It's really the only crucial art. For him is the message. And why do you ask?